Hello! Today we are going to be discussing the phases of the menstrual cycle as outlined here on the board. Now notice as far as the numbering of this 28-day cycle, it begins with menstruation. Although physiologically menstruation is kind of the end of the cycle physiologically, by the numbering system it comes first, days 1 through 5. This is because it is physically, visually the most obvious sign, so it's easy to begin numbering, whereas the others aren't obvious from the outside. All right, so menstruation is day 1 through 5, and we're going to describe that a little bit later on. The second phase is the follicular phase, and this is day 6 through 13, so a little more than a week there. What's happening there is the follicles, so these immature ova that are here inside the ovary, are receiving a lot of hormones. So follicle stimulating hormone is hitting the ovary, and that's leading to an increase of lots of estrogen. And it's taking a handful of these follicles and it's leading them to mature. One of them outpaces the other, and that becomes that dominant follicle. Now we have luteinizing hormone, LH, being released from the pituitary gland, and that LH spike then leads to that dominant follicle rupturing out of the ovary. That is this third phase right here, ovulation, the actual follicle coming out. And that typically takes place in day 14. Now, as we move into the luteal stage, the follicle moves into these fallopian tubes. So the fimbria waves it in, and for 24 to 48 hours, that immature ova is able to be fertilized. If that doesn't happen within that 24 to 48 hours, it will die, but it continues to descend down. And this is the release of much more progesterone. That progesterone, through that luteal stage, is causing this endometrial layer, the most inner layer of the uterus. It's causing it to thicken. The point being, if that egg is fertilized by sperm, it needs a nice blood-rich, nutrient-rich layer to embed in to then continue to grow to eventually form the fetus. So this wall thickens up with a very blood-rich tissue. All right, at the end of the luteal stage, if that egg is not fertilized and therefore not cranking out the hormones that start being produced by a fertilized egg, then the hormone levels all drop. The egg is dead, no longer that follicle producing progesterone, and so everything is just flushed out of the system. The hormone levels go back down to reset, and the wall, the endometrium, is shed. So notice that it is not open wounds that are just bleeding out the vaginal canal. Instead, it is a blood-rich tissue that is being sloughed off. It's being removed. That thickened layer is being thinned back down to its basal layer. All of that flushes out in that day 1 through 5, beginning a new cycle, physiologically ending the lifespan of that ova, and then everything resets. So, as far as the numbering, we start with menstruation, move to the follicular stage, then ovulation popping out, the luteal stage as it goes down the fallopian tube and thickens, and then finishes off with menstruation as everything is flushed out and the system is reset.